Couple of weeks ago, one of my day job coworkers asked me if I knew anything about the Mountain Dew conspiracy. And I'd heard of it, but I didn't really know very much about it. So I do what I do. And when I got home, I started to Google about it, and read up about it, and watched a few YouTube videos, some TikTok videos, and I went back to work and I told him, okay, I've learned quite a bit about it. He's like, you going to do an episode of After Dark about it? I'm like, I guess I could. So guess what? Today we're going to talk about the Mountain Dew conspiracy. But before we do that, let me tell you a little bit about Dubby energy drinks. Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, no jitters, no angst like those other energy drinks do. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, and only 150 milligrams of caffeine per serving. And when I say per serving, you drink one a day and you're completely set. And you're not going to get that crash like you do with other energy drinks. So don't you check out their website, dubby.gg. And if you find something that you maybe want to pick up, put in the code SpockRock when you check out, you'll save yourself 10% on your purchase. So check out Dubby Energy Drinks, and we're going to check out the Mountain Dew conspiracy. All right. Normally, I would come on here and just talk about it, but I found this TikTok video that actually does a good job explaining exactly what the Mountain Dew conspiracy is. And he kind of goes above and beyond, but we'll cover that as we transverse through the Mountain Dew conspiracy.
I might have gone too deep on this one, but the Mountain Dew conspiracy is, you'll see. So apparently every big marketing campaign they do for an upcoming new flavor coincides with a major world event, and it's never a good one. And the one they're dropping in 2025 might be a little concerning, because the names of their major flavors always seem to have a hidden message behind them. Take Mountain Dew Maui Burst, for example, which was released and preceded the wildfires we had in Maui back in 2023. Maui Burst. Which, by the way, those fires were also hella sketch to begin with, and a lot of rumors of foul play involved. Let me know if I should cover those some other time.
They weren't hella sketch. They know why they started. But I see what you're doing there.
Also, Mountain Dew, DEW, like direct energy weapons. You know, those lasers that shoot down from above and set things on fire. Okay, that part's a stretch, but these other flavors there's something else.
Direct energy weapon, Dew. Yeah, I think he's right. That's kind of a stretch.
Like Star Spangled Splash, which came out in 2024, the same year that bridge collapsed in Baltimore. You remember that? Where that container ship randomly crashed into a bridge and it just completely fell apart. Another kind of sketchy catastrophe. Well,
it wasn't sketchy. It was pilot or Captain Error, if you will.
The name of the bridge was the Francis Scott Key Bridge, named after the author of the American national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, Star Spangled Splash. In 2001, Mountain Dew released their classic Code Red flavor, you know, like big emergency, all hands on deck type of disaster, and also happens to be the official hospital code for an active fire. Well,
this is where the conspiracy begins, allegedly, because as he's about to tell you, Code Red happened 3 months before a certain catastrophe in 2001. I think you know what I'm talking about.
3 months after this release, the most devastating event of US history occurred on the 11th day of the 9th month of the year, September. I don't think the algorithm likes that word. Of course, there were also many fires involved, ones that melted steel girders in perfect 45-degree angles, yet somehow left passports completely intact. The list...
I'm going to stop there because talk to any firefighter and they will tell you anytime there's any sort of fire or building collapse, there are always things that don't get interrupted or burned by the fire. It's just a matter of what oxygen in what area is stoking the fire, how the fire travels. It's I know 9/11 conspiracy people like to think that it was an inside job, an implosion, but no, it wasn't.
Goes on. I've got more flavors that'll blow your mind, and the one they're releasing this year might give us a glimpse of what's coming next. But why Mountain Dew of all drinks, the unofficial sports beverage of gamers and virgins? Well, the history of this drink is honestly just as shocking as what they used to put into Coca-Cola, if you know what I mean.
He's about to give you a history lesson on Mountain Dew, and it's actually 100% accurate. I'll give him credit for that one, but let him continue.
Just have a look at the name, Mountain Dew. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Probably something like a scenic mountain landscape spotted with refreshing drops of morning dew, right? That's exactly what their marketing team today would want you to picture, because they wouldn't want you to know the real story. The drink was originally invented by two brothers, Barney and Ali Hartman, in 1940 as a tangy citrus soda in the same category as tonic water. And they created it because they wanted a better mixer for their whiskey. And it sure did the job. According to them, when they mixed their new drink with whiskey, the resulting flavor tasted like moonshine, which is bootleg alcohol typically distilled illegally, popularized during the Prohibition era when booze was banned for 13 years. In fact, it tasted so much like it, they decided to name their new drink Mountain Dew, which was a popular slang term for moonshine in the 40s. Yup, Mountain Dew was originally made for mixing with whiskey, and is named
As a lot of drinks are. It's not a surprise that a soda that we drink now was popularized or created to be mixed with some kind of alcohol. He acted surprised there, but it's really not.
after illegally distributed alcohol. Like, imagine 30 years from now, they release a grape-flavored soda called Lean or Scissor. Despite its sketchy origins, Pepsi Cola saw promise in the drink and bought the Mountain Dew brand in 1964, which largely expanded distribution across the United States and Canada. Pepsi still owns the drink today, and they've been involved in some pretty sketchy business themselves.
He likes using the phrase sketchy, but he's also going to teach you now a little bit about PepsiCo. If you are unaware, Pepsi is one of the largest corporations in the entire world. Continue.
Over the years, like the infamous Pepsi coup of Chile in 1970, where the chairman of Pepsi at the time worked with the head of the CIA to overthrow Chile's new socialist president. Yes, this actually happened. Apparently, this guy was a threat to the profits of Pepsi bottling factories in Chile, and so the company got involved and helped overthrow their government. Was this?
It's not unusual in this 20th, 21st century for large corporations to assist governments, domestic or foreign, as a way of reaching an ends to the means. If it helps them make more money, they're going to do it. That's not a conspiracy. That's just the way of the world.
This collab between Pepsi and the CIA, the start of a much larger psyop that we see happening today, because as the years went by, their marketing team continued releasing new flavors of the drink with some questionable names. Like
the names and the events that people attribute to them are not a conspiracy. They're more like a coincidence. And as I wrap things up at the end of his video, you'll understand why.
their popular Pitch Black flavor, which apparently coincided with the largest IT blackout ever back in 2024, the CrowdStrike outage. The one that affected 8.5 million Microsoft devices, with critical services and business operations being disrupted. Their Infinite Swirl flavor preceded the insane hurricane season that wouldn't end in Southeast America and featured multiple Category 5 hurricanes. Purple Thunder is another recent flavor that also happens to be the name of a classified anti-tank missile defense system experiment performed by the IDF over 22 years ago.
Okay, 22 years ago, and Purple Swirl is fairly new. How was that a conspiracy?
IDF, like the Israeli Defense Force. Is there a connection to something here? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. There's also the well-known Baja Blast, which was originally released in 2004, but we have seen bigger marketing pushes for it lately. Some tie it to the 2023 Ensenada shooting.
Okay, Baja Blast has been out for a while, and you're tying it to the Ensenada shootout. But let him continue. He ties it together.
Which took the lives of 10 people in Baja California, Mexico. Baja Blast? Yeah, okay, this one's kind of a stretch, I'll admit. But the newest flavor coming out in 2025 is Baja Midnight. And they're really pushing this one. It's almost kind of weird. Taco Bell hosted a full-ass press conference type event just to announce it, which will be
This was last year when this video was made, and Baja Midnight is currently being sold at Taco Bell, and that's what corporations do, especially with a big name like Baja Blast, is they have huge marketing campaigns. That's nothing new, but you're making it sound, or you're insinuating that they're letting people know that something is afoot.
exclusive to Taco Bell, but what could it possibly mean? Speculations are ranging anywhere from more global power outages and blackouts, like the Iberian Peninsula blackout we saw in Spain and Portugal at the end of April, to some big paranormal reveal, because, you know, midnight is so spooky. Or maybe even us hitting midnight on the doomsday clock, the one that scientists update every year telling us how close we are to nuclear apocalypse. Midnight. It's currently sitting at 89 seconds, the closest we've ever been in history. Perhaps Baja Midnight is alluding to the clock striking 12. Does Mountain Dew really know what's coming next, or is this just a huge viral marketing campaign with some pretty dark undertones?
So what say you about the Mountain Dew conspiracy? Because here's what I think. All of a sudden, I'm turning this into a Springer's final thought for whatever reason. And here's my final thought. In a world, and now I turned it into a movie promo. In a world where Mountain Dew conspiracies. But seriously, I don't really think much of the Mountain Dew conspiracy. I think a lot of these things are more coincidence over conspiracy. And people are taking the release of Mountain Dew flavors, which tends to happen just about every year. So you can tie any tragedy that happens every year to a Mountain Dew flavor that gets released for a limited time. So really, that's it. The only one that you could even put any legs on are, I suppose, Code Red, since it started in 2001, the same time as 9/11. But it was released 3 months beforehand, and they usually have those things planned for production well in advance of that. So unless they knew 9/11 was going to happen a year in advance, then I think it's just a crazy coincidence. And why isn't there conspiracies with, say, Voltage, Mountain Dew Voltage, or Mountain Dew Livewire? Because I'm sure whenever Livewire was released, somebody probably grabbed a fallen power line and electrocuted themselves. Or when Voltage got released, I'm sure somebody got struck by lightning. So yeah, I just think it's a conspiracy. So don't forget to click like and subscribe so you're notified each and every time there's a new episode. And don't forget, as always, to go to w.gg, use the code SPOCKROT to get 10% off your purchase. Because remember, nothing good ever happens until after dark. Which, I guess the new Mountain Dew is, what'd they say it was called? Baja Purple Midnight or Baja Midnight or something. So maybe After Dark's doomed.